What's going on, guys? Aarava here, and welcome back to Let's Talk F1. Yes, this is the first episode for 2016 for my Let's Talk F1 series. If you're unfamiliar with it, basically, this is a series where I get to talk about in real life Formula 1, usually to do with the kind of technical side of it, but also just generally talking about the sport itself. And today we're going to be talking about the 2017 cars, because obviously there's been much debate about the 2017 cars. The FIA have given us numerous different kind of ideas and illustrations for what they think the 2017 cars are going to look like, and lately, as of the last month, there's been a lot of debate, a few meetings with, the teams and the FIA, and it's all coming out that the 2017 cars we thought we were going to get might be a little bit watered down and a bit different to what we thought previously a few months ago. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what the FIA think the specifications are going to be like right now, and also a little bit about what they're debating about right now. So, quick recap on why the FIA and F1 in general wants things to change for 2017. The biggest thing will be the aggressive look of the cars. They want the cars to look a lot better. Lately there's been a few complaints on how the cars look. So, a big point of it is to make the cars look more aggressive and also to reduce the lap time and probably make them 3 seconds-ish faster on track than they are right now in terms of the actual overall lap time. Now, how they're going to do this? Well, they first planned on making some huge changes to the cars in terms of how wide they looked, how aggressive the front wing angles were, how, the rear wing was, how wide the kind of bodywork was, and how the diffuser would work underneath the car. And it was a very bold statement from the FIA. On screen right now, you can see a bit of an impression artist work on what the Mercedes car would look like. You can see a very, very aggressive front wing that's kind of bent backwards. You can see a very wide bodywork, a very staunch kind of rear wing, kind of like lean back. You've got a big, big diffuser at the back, and it all sounded very, very aggressive and all very kind of cool in that sense. And then we've learned that things are slowly starting to get watered down. But before we get to that, the actual specifications of the car are as follows. So I think all the stuff I'm about to read out is not completely set in stone, because the FIA and the teams are all still debating these rule changes. They actually had a meeting on Friday, this gone Friday, which was inconclusive and unsuccessful, as most of their meetings are, I guess. So they're still debating things and also trying to also think about cockpit safety, which is something we'll get into a little bit. So basically, the tyres are going to be wider, with tread width up from 24.5 to 30 centimeters at the front, and from 32.5 to 40 centimeters at the rear. So the tyres getting wider, that's going to help in terms of lap time straight away in itself, because you have wider tyres, you have more surface on the road, more grip, and the cars can go a little bit faster through the corners. Pirelli have also been instructed to make the tyres a little bit stronger to kind of withstand the new kind of speeds, to make them, so they can actually hold their ground over the downforce being created by what was planned at the time. Bigger diffusers, bigger work under the car a little bit more, and just generally a lot more aggressive aerodynamic part above the car. But now we've learnt that it may not be the case. Pirelli have actually, said to FIA themselves they're a bit concerned about the safety of the tyres, in terms of, you're asking us to make degradable tyres, but also at the same time, our tyres can't withstand the amount of downforce you want the cars to generate and want to, have. So they are trying to water it down a little bit. Pirelli are trying to make improvements to the strength of the carcass, I'm guessing, but I guess there's only so much strengthening you can do before the tyres then become a bit more too durable for what the FIA want, because the FIA still want kind of worn-out tyres, the tyres that kind of go off and you have 3 stops per race. They don't want to go back to the whole 1 pit stop for the entire race. But there's a, as you can clearly see, there's a bit of compromise that has to be made. It looks like they're making the compromise on the car side rather than the tyre side. So according to the Formula 1 website, the actual width of the car, so that I'm talking about the side pods here, are going to be a maximum of 180 centimeters wide. So that's obviously the front part of the side pod is going to curve up to apparently 180 centimeters wide. But obviously, as it's come out in the last few weeks and last month, that might not be the case. And actually what you might see is the side pods being the exact same size as they are now, which is about, I think, 140 centimeters. Don't quote me on that, but around that size. And that the floor could go that wide to 180 centimeters, but the actual car itself, the bodywork, will still say the same height, the same width. So as you can see on screen, this is a Photoshop done by yours truly. As you can see, it looks a little odd. it looks a little odd. You can see the floor has come out quite wide. It's quite, it looks quite aggressive, the actual floor itself. But you can see the side pods are the exact same. It makes the car look a little bit funny. And in reality, I think that doesn't really do what they were meant to it doesn't really do what they were trying to do. Make the cars look more aggressive. That doesn't really make them look more aggressive. It just makes them look like someone's parked the F1 2016 or 15 cars on top of a kind of flat floor that's a little bit wider than itself right now. It looks a little bit odd like that. I do agree though, the front wing does look a little bit nicer in terms of the way they've kind of sprung it back, angled it back, although as you can see it's still quite complex, and that's quite a big issue for Formula 1 at the moment in terms of the debate between dirty air and trying to create downforce elsewhere apart from aerodynamic devices, because obviously you have such complex front wings and you're going behind other cars which are giving off such turbulent air. Because of how complex the wings are at the front, it's really, really tough for drivers to stick behind one another and try and make an overtaking move. If they simplified front wings, tried to make downforce from somewhere else, i.e. ground effect underneath the car, by making the diffuser bigger and stuff like that, it could be a lot better for the sport, but they're still sticking with the regulations, I'm guessing right now, of they're not giving any restrictions on the amount of kind of actual parts you can have on the front wing. I think if they maybe did that and kind of restricted it to the point where teams basically have a very simple front wing and allowed the regulations to open up for more complex kind of work underneath the car, it could solve that problem. But for now, they're not really going with that. They're going with just a more aggressive looking, mean looking front end, which might be good for looks, but it's not going to make too much of a difference in terms of people overtaking one another. Talking about barge boards, you can see that it looks like they're still going ahead with the more kind of larger, aggressive barge boards. So from the leading edge of the side pod, it's going to extend all the way up towards basically near to the suspension, and it's going to be a lot larger. So from the side views you can see on the F1 website, you can see it looks very, big, and that's going to hopefully help airflow. Obviously, the air will kind of attach to that surface. It's a larger surface, so it'll be easier to attach for it, and more air can get attached to it, and it will hopefully let the air kind of go through nicely and smoothly towards the sides of the side pods. But obviously, as I just mentioned, the side pods are no longer going to maybe be as wide as we first thought, and they're going to be pretty much the same width, which just still, again, I'm going to come back to, I know I've repeated it 500 times, but it just looks very, very odd. Let me know what you guys think of it in the comments below, actually. I want to know your thoughts. What do you think of those side pods? Do you think that they should extend it to the actual width of the floor, or do you sort of like it? So let me know all that good stuff. But basically, they're watering it down a lot from what they first thought was going to be the new 2017 cars. And a big part of that is due to Pirelli with the tyres. The FIA have a very weird double-edged sword. They want the tyres to degrade, but they also don't want Pirelli. They also, need to think about safety in terms of strengthening the Pirelli tyres at the same time. So their solution is just to simply drop a few of the parameters they were going to have for 2017 to make the cars have a lot more downforce. Another thing I should mention is also the diffuser we thought was going to be a lot larger, which would have been pretty damn nice, but now it's come out that the diffuser may be a little bit smaller and pretty much the same size as the cars right now, which again is just another backpedaling of the FIA. So just very, very odd for 2017. They're still debating things. They've actually been debating also having closed cockpits for 2017 onwards, because the FIA really does want to push the safety aspect of Formula 1, which is obviously a big thing for everyone. We all want the drivers to be safer than they, always, there's always something you can do to improve safety. And right now it looks like the FIA are slowly trying to lean towards getting closed cockpit in sooner rather than later for the Formula 1 cars. So there've been a few kind of illustrations of what those could be, the halo kind of situation. You got like 3 bars extending over where the driver's head would be. A lot of different things they're debating at the same time as all these aerodynamic changes. For now though, in terms of the engine looks like it's going to be staying put, so we're going to be having these V6 engines until I think it was 2020, I think I read. So in terms of that's not going to be changing, but they're still debating all that other stuff. So hopefully we'll get an answer from FIA and from F1 as a whole and what they'll look like, and we'll just have to see how it goes. But I honestly don't think they're going in the right direction. I think they need to look at simplifying the front wing a little bit more, improving kind of the aerodynamic gains underneath the car with ground effect, and just taking the emphasis away from the front end, because that's the biggest thing. The front end, because it's so imperative to the rest of the car turbulent air and hot air coming off the rear end of a car in front of you just affects you so much, and that's the biggest thing that doesn't let you overtake other cars. So I think they're looking at the wrong kind of angle for 2017. But let me know what you think personally in the comments below. Let me know what you thought of the kind of side pods being the same height, the same kind of width, the front wing, rear wing, diffuser, whatever I've talked about in this video. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. But that has been the first Let's Talk F1 video of the year. There will be many more to come, guys. I'm going to be covering the entire preseason testing in terms of most of the car launches. I say most of them because there are actually 4 cars launching on one day on the 22nd of February. So it's going to be a little bit hard to make videos for all of them, but I will be trying my best to make you videos for each car that I can, or at least the cars that look interesting to me in terms of when they launch. And then I will be doing a bit of analysis on the preseason testing. There's actually going to be a bit of a new kind of series coming to the channel to do with kind of the preseason and all the other races, which I'll let you guys know about soon. But apart from that, if you have enjoyed the video, then do hit that like button. Let me know what you thought in the comments below. If you're new around here, then do subscribe for year-long coverage. Hopefully, knock on wood. I mean, the thing was with Let's Talk F1 last year is I kind of stopped doing it around Singapore onwards because, frankly, there was just nothing to talk about. F1 became very, very stale in terms of technical developments and even just interesting racing developments to even talk about. So I say year-long pretty much until everything stops happening, until the season starts to get very stale. Hopefully that's not the case with, Ferrari hopefully, battling a little bit with Mercedes, but we'll see. But if you are new around here, then do go ahead and subscribe for more videos like this. I've been aarava, hope you enjoyed the day, and we'll see you guys next time.